Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday Live Lesson. My name is Aldrine Guerrero, joined by these two fine gentlemen, Mr. Aaron, the voice not commercial. What's up, Aaron?
What's up?
And Mr. Kahai, the legend, Ferguson. Say what's up, Kahai?
What's up?
It's Thursday, 1 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. That means it's time to just talk story, talk ukulele, with good audio. Finally, it's courtesy of Kahai, the legend over here, like lending me one of his good mics instead of me like using this. And not that this microphone is bad or anything, but it's just not like a actual condenser mic. This is like a stage condenser mic right here. So it's kind of like a condenser mic, but for the stage. But this is like an actual condenser mic. So it sounds. I'm guessing it sounds good. Yeah. I'm guessing it sounds good. I can't hear, but I'm gonna take Kahai's word for it. That sounds way better.
I just wanted to make my editing time of the audio podcast go down a little bit, so I don't have to stay up as late. Yeah.
Well, for those folks who are interested, this is the actual mic that I use on stage. Like I love this microphone. Most people use this like SM58. This is kind of like a standard microphone that everybody uses. This is by Shure, so SM is Shure Mic 58. And this is kind of like whenever you see just any normal performance, they would probably have something like this. This is pretty common SM58, but I upgraded a few years back to the SM86. So this is basically just like the SM58, but it's a little bit more. I don't know. It's got, what's the word for it? It sounds like a condenser, so the gain is a lot more, and it can handle the highs a little bit better. So it's a lot more crisp. That's why I love using this. So even though it's just like a regular stage mic, it worked for like however many months we were doing this podcast for me to be using this microphone. So for those folks who are interested, this is the mic that I use on stage. Love this mic. I don't know how much it is now, but I think an SM58 is like $150. And an 86 is maybe twice that, maybe like
I want to say it might be like, I think it's only like 150. It's not like too outrageous. Yeah,
the 86.
Yeah, I want to say something like that. I think the last time I checked, because it's just kind of like I think Shure just wanted to make that their new like standard instead of the 58, right? So they're like, oh, here, just buy this one. If you have a 58, here's like the upgrade now to the 58.
It sounds really good. I love this mic. Like I said, the ceiling is a lot higher on this, especially on the on the higher the higher hertz. I was like, what is the word? The higher hertz. Like I can handle a little bit more of that because the roof is a lot higher. So I dig it, and the gain is a lot more. It's kind of like and I don't want to downplay the 58 because the 58 sounds really good. The 58 sounds like a passive pickup, whereas this is kind of like an active. Like that's basically what it sounds like to me. Where like totally cool for a passive pickup, like a lot of people use passive, but this sounds like an active pickup. That's kind of the main sound difference. So for those of you folks who are out there, performing and working the grinds, working the salt mines, musical salt mines, that's kind of what I use if you were interested. All right, what do you use, Kahai, for your performances, for your live shows?
Oh, nothing. Yeah. Well, like the SM58 is like, if you go to like a bar, that's probably what the mic they're gonna have there, or if they like do karaoke or something, and they have like a little bit not just the microphone that comes with the whatever karaoke machine, right? If they have like a actual nice microphone, it's probably gonna be SM58. So it really is all over the place. It's become like the standard.
It's an industry standard. Like I've seen performances on TV, like in bigger stages and stuff, using like SM58. It's everywhere. But it was time to upgrade, and the 86 was a good buy. So for those folks interested, SM86, check it out. It's really good.
So
all right.
Renee actually had a question about this.
Sure.
She said, you sound much clearer now. Would you use the studio mic on stage?
Not necessarily. The studio mic sounds really good, and that's why you don't want to use it on stage because it sounds too good. Because the stage has a lot more elements to it, whereas the studio you can pretty much control the
Mm-hmm.
sound that's going around you. You know, like any kind of room noise, any kind of like wind noise, all any of that stuff, any little thing it can hear. You know, so if I were to bring this on stage, it would pick up everything on stage, and that's not necessarily what you want. So, I would not, and you don't normally see these kinds of microphones on stage for that very reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well,
unless it's like controlled, I know I've seen some condenser mics on stage, but it's usually pretty controlled, right?
yeah. Well, like the great thing about the 58 and the
Mm-hmm.
86 too is that you can kind of leave them, and whoever like goes up to them can use them, and they don't have to be like, you don't have to tell them, oh, you gotta get super close to the mic for it to work
Yeah,
good, or
yeah.
you don't have to get, oh, you get further away. It kind of has like a
Mm-hmm.
nice range between like
Mm-hmm.
how far you can be from it, or where you're
Mm-hmm.
talking towards it and stuff. You don't need to be like,
Mm-hmm.
used to two mics to know how to use it, so, or
It
for it to sound reasonably good. Yeah.
it definitely helps though. I'm in the kiss the mic club. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's it's the only way that it gets like like everything that I sing or that I say is if I like actually kiss the mic. And I mean it works too without kissing the mic, but I feel like there's it's just not enough punch for me. I don't know. Like and I like the volume better if once you get up to the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds a little too soft when I'm like, if I mean a condenser mic being this far is actually ideal, but for a mic like the 58, for example, if I sang right here, you would kind of hear it, but it would sound way better if I just kissed it. Mwah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean this is my microphone. No one else uses this or anything, so it's cool that I make out with it on stage.
That's why. That's why you have your own and bring your
Yeah,
own.
I bring my own. I make out
Yeah.
with my own microphone. It's all good.
Yeah.
And sometimes it shocks me, sometimes it doesn't. But love hurts sometimes, Kahai. All right. So, first order of business. What we got, Kahai? What we got? So, Thursday Live Lesson is a place where we answer any and all of your questions about the ukulele or whatever. Anything ukulele underground related or just stuff that we're into. Like honestly, if you want to ask us, you can send us emails. You can send us messages via Ukulele Underground. You can also attend live. So this is Thursday live lesson. You can attend live and you can ask questions live via the chat. So let's get started. Kai, give me the first question.
So Renee has like another question
Sure.
tied to the mics and stuff. So she said she asked, what about cables?
What do you mean?
I'm guessing just like how much I guess how much does cables affect the sound, or what cables would you
like
use?
instrument cables?
Okay, yeah, like instrument cables, they do make a difference, but to most people, not really, and it also depends on everything else. Like the cable will just provide a signal, from your instrument to either like a pedal or straight to the sound system or to the PA or whatever you're using. Okay, so with that said, if you're an audiophile and can really hear the differences in sound, you want a clean signal coming from your ukulele to the to the PA or to the sound system. But if you can't really hear too much of a difference, then you just use whatever cables. It'll work. Like the difference is so minuscule that not much people hear it. But then there's those people that swear by it. And I mean, I can hear the difference, but not enough that I would be like, oh, I gotta have this gold cable that will be the cleanest signal possible for my ukulele to the PA. I mean, I don't have that kind of money. It's like $5,000 for that cable or whatever. But like, and even if I could hear it, I don't think my audience could hear it, could tell the difference. And I'm technically playing for my audience to hear. So it does make a difference, and there is and you can even measure it. Like there's people who've kind of measured the signals of some cables versus others, and I know like they have these pictures and graphs on the Analysis Plus site. Like it actually shows how much cleaner their signal is versus like just a regular copper or like skinny copper signal. and also the material that your cables are made out of will make a difference, like because some materials conduct electricity better, therefore sending the signal a lot cleaner. Like usually copper is what they use to to have, well, for the cables, but some people use silver. I know Zayola Silver Line uses silver. um I know like Analysis Plus uses gold, and also like the width of the of the material makes a difference. I think um Analysis Plus have a bunch of like copper wires, but then they're like kind of a wider, so therefore the signal comes through a little bit, a little bit cleaner, a little bit better. But all that really is, if you can hear the difference, then yes, it makes a difference. But if you can't tell between one cable and the other, I wouldn't really spend too much money on it. I used to be like super super into it because it does, you can hear it, you can hear the difference. But at some point I'm like, those very high-end cables last just as long as like the regular cables. So if I'm spending like $400 on cables that'll last me like a couple years, it's in the end it's not really worth it for me anyway. I'm not playing high profile gigs that like, oh, I can just pay this off with half a gig or whatever, like, no, it's like I gotta save my pennies for some time in order to buy one of those. So yeah, but that's my opinion. And like some people will say otherwise. Some people will say that yeah, it's very worth it. If you're practicing your butt off, like trying to play as clean as possible, then you want that cleanliness to be showing on stage, when you're playing. So those guys who are extremely clean, like guys like Jake uses a gold cable, who plays extremely clean and wants to be able to show the how clean they play and how well they play. That makes a difference.
Yeah. So she asked like because you were talking about how you don't want to use studio mics on stage because they're like, you might pick up other sounds that you can't control, right? She asked, is it the same thing with cables? Like, could you pick up too much with a cable, and is that something that you don't want either?
No, not necessarily, because like unless you have a very faulty like pickup or something like that. If you have a faulty pickup that has like or an ukulele that has a grounding issue, for example, if you put in a cable that will cleanly send that grounding issue sound to the PA, then you're just gonna hear that grounding a lot clearer, but not really, because when you plug in your your ukulele, it's not like there's any outside noises that can interfere with with the sound, unlike unlike a microphone where it's pretty out in the open. It's not like it will only pick up my voice, it'll pick up everything around around the microphone itself. But with the cable, it's pretty like directional where like it's, if you plug it in here, it's only going to pick up from from here. So that kind of question would be best for like a pickup, like, will the pickup like pick up all those noises that you're talking about? And some do, some don't. That's a difference in in good pickups, and some difference in like terrible pickups. If you just
if you're comparing like microphones, then like types of microphones, then the equivalent for an instrument would be the types of pickups that you're using. And then the cable would be comparing the cables, right? Because you connect your microphone to cable with a cable, and then your instrument pickup with a cable. So like the quality of each is kind of comparable. So so microphones to voice is kind of the equivalent to pickups to your instrument or your ukulele. Yeah, so there are different types of pickups, and what you choose for your pickup will affect the sound, the signal coming off of your instrument more than the cable will. And then also DI too, if you're gonna
it's true.
And kind of the pairing of your DI to your pickup. So like what pickup you have and what DI you pair with. Yeah, that will kind of affect.
Yeah, sometimes it's too much signal, because if you have like an active pickup with an active DI, like a super duper active DI, so it's like two 9-volt batteries, like, you know, sending that like crazy fat signal over to the PA. Sometimes it's a little bit too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like
I mean, that kind of depends on your instrument too. You know, you gotta pair it with what your instrument is doing.
Yeah, what you were saying earlier, right? Like if your pickup has a problem and then you plug in like a really nice cable, it's just gonna make that problem
amplify that problem.
Yeah, but like it's probably gonna that problem is gonna show up with any cable anyways, right? Like if you have a problem with your pickup that's making noise, a grounding problem, it doesn't really matter what cable you plug in, you're gonna hear it through the speakers or whatever, and that's just like, oh, I gotta fix my pickup.
Yeah. And, you know, pickups have grounding issues. For those people who are like, oh, you know, I have a grounding issues that bad, but it's pretty normal. It's like one of the most common problems with pickups is grounding issues. Yeah.
Doesn't plugging into a DI kind of alleviate some of that, because the XLR, if you're going XLR out, the XLR plug has 3 prongs, and one of them is the ground. So that will kind of alleviate sometimes. If it's
in
not
some
like,
cases.
Yeah.
But some cases, like, it's the pickup itself that's like the problem. So like if there's like a nick, for example, you know, in the pickup, and that's just by normal wear and tear, you know, like for example, like Fishman has like the red tape around their pickups and stuff. So the more you change out your strings, or, you know, the more you kind of, you know, you play it, it's just gonna, you know, the saddle is gonna kind of move around a little bit, and it's gonna nick via that red kind of film around the pickup. And if it has a nick, that could cause the you know, the grounding issue. So no matter what, it's gonna have that grounding issue. And even if you plug it into, you know, to a DI, it's still gonna have that grounding issue in there if it's like the pickup itself. But if it's like a grounding issue as far as signal goes, then that means maybe you can do a what was that, like a lift on the DI, and that should like cure the grounding issue, that kind of grounding issue. So it just depends what kind of grounding issue.
I remember a time when we were filming, and there was like a grounding issue, or I could hear like a grounding issue in the headphones when we were gonna film. And you're trying stuff with the DI, you know, with cables and everything, and what it turned out to be was like your pickup, I think, and the solution to that was using a certain like a cable with a right angle, but not because like the cable itself was gonna help, but it was so, I think if you touch the cable to your body, it stopped the grounding, and so that's why like that's the only reason why we use that cable. Or like I asked you like, and you're like, oh, I'll just hold it right here, I'll play my ukulele like this for this lesson. It's just so you make sure you touch the cable, and so it's like grounded. He's like, that's when you know it's like when you kind of eliminate everything else, it's like it's probably the pickup that there's something wrong.
That's like the embarrassing behind the scenes of ukulele on the ground, where like the uke's not working properly, so we gotta like touch it, like hold it a certain way, so that like, you know, the grounding kind of goes away enough. It's they don't need to peek behind that curtain. Like don't tell people how we live. But I mean, you know, I remember being at the Kauai Music Festival, and Paula Fuga, like one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite singers from Hawaii, actually. She had her old school, you know, like I think 6 or 8 string kamaka, and she was, you know, gonna sing her songs and stuff. And they kept plugging it in, and there was like that grounding issue. It's because Fishman, like she had a Fishman pickup, and it's actually the same pickup that I rave about, which is the Matrix, the Matrix Natural One. So the Matrix Natural One has kind of like a shelf life. Like I don't know if it's because it heats up, and maybe like a little bit of that heat kind of like melts away like that foil. I don't know what happens, but after like a few years of using that pickup, it has a grounding issue, and you just kind of have to just swap out that part that goes underneath the underneath the saddle, because the pickup itself is fine, you know, the Matrix Natural. But then the part that connects from the brain of the pickup to underneath the saddle, that kind of has a shelf life. And I think she had that problem on stage and nobody could kind of figure out. And I'm like, I know what's happening. I know. Like, watch, if you hold it like this, it like, it'll stop. And she played it like that the whole time at the Kauai Music Festival. She's like, oh, thanks for the advice. I'm like, yeah, but you gotta go to Kamaka, you gotta get that part like, like sorted out as soon as you get back to Oahu, And she's like, oh, thanks, but I never knew that. And I was like, oh, next, if you can't bring it, to Kamaka before then, now you know how to hold your ukulele. So like, because for some reason, the grounding goes away if you touch it with your skin. I don't know what the science is behind that, but if you touch it, like the grounding goes away.
It's because you're grounding it.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're making a loop with the ground. Yeah. So you're closing the loop.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. It has that particular, I don't know if it's all Fishman, like pickups and stuff, but it does have that grounding issue after so much use.
Yeah. Well, that particular pickup, that's why they discontinued it, right?
Yeah. But I mean, the brain was fine. Like I didn't feel the need to change the brain part, but like just the undersaddle was the problem. The brain is okay because I had that in my in I don't know if I have it here, but in my first custom from Kanilea, like the original Mary Jane, and I had it for Mika, which is my my Kamaka, my tenor Kamaka. I had that same pickup, and it was like a routine, like 2-3 years. Like I had to swap it out because of the grounding issues. After they just swapped that, not the brain.
Didn't you tell somebody like a guitar tech that we know that like if they come across any ukes with that in it, like the natural one in it, if he wants to like take it out, and you would just buy that one part, right?
Yeah,
like you would
just buy the brain.
Yeah.
Because like even the modern ones and stuff, the one that they have for the Infinities, like Matrix Infinities, like they're compatible. Like they have they have that part, or you don't even have to buy it straight from Fishman. Like places like Stu Mac, like has just that part, but they don't sell the brain, which is the the main component that. The pickup, like it picks it up underneath here, but that's kind of what processes it and sends out the signal. So that brain part is what I want.
Yeah. It's like
I don't think that's an official term.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the term is. I just the brain,
like the motherboard or whatever. The
whatever
circuitry.
The actual pickup itself.
Yeah,
but yeah.
When you look at those pickups, that's why they're like the jack, right? And then the jack has like all the important parts, and then it's like a wire going to the undersaddle part, right?
Yeah.
So the jack is the one that the brain that you're talking about.
Yeah, I have one in my my U case, but my U case is not here. Like, so I can kind of show like what exactly I've showed it before.
Yeah,
so I'm sure and Kahai will put in the show notes.
We'll post links and you can see for yourself like what it actually looks like. But like even grounding issues are like so common, right? That when we filmed with Shiloh Paw and Fingas, like Fingas plugged into his board and there was a grounding issue, and we tried to figure it out, and then finally he's like, oh, I'll just play without the board. I don't really need to play with the board. I can just play without. And once he did that and plugged like straight into our cameras, it's like, yep, that's fine. Works fine. So it really is like, if you have it, if you experience it, you plug in your uke and you're like, oh no, I have grounding issues. That must be something wrong with my whole uke. It's like, oh no, like everybody has that, and you can get it fixed. It's not that. It's pretty not common. Too much to worry about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might not
for
even
people who don't. Oh, for people who don't know what grounding issues would sound like, how would you describe it?
It's a low hum. Like when you plug in your instrument, it should not make any noise other than like like your actual instrument. But if you plug in your instrument, it goes like that's what that is. It's like a low hum. And you don't necessarily want that. I mean, like you could probably get away, like doing a performance with a low hum as long as you like just kind of keep playing. But as soon as you stop playing, people are like, "What's that noise?"
Yeah,
like white noise. It's kind of like white noise.
The only way I think you can get away with it is if you're plugged into like a DI, and then the DI has like a mute switch, right? So in between songs, you hit the mute switch, so that signal doesn't go to what are the speakers. But yeah, it's kind of a pain to like every time you're done singing or playing or whatever, it's like, oh, hit the mute switch before anybody hears just.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right, yeah, so a lot of tech talk today so far. All right, Kahai, give me the next thing.
So we got a couple of student reviews, or like one student review and an update from somebody. But you want to go over Renee's student review because she sent it in last week. So
Renee's student review, she was talking about like how to kind of keep it clean when you're doing like fast changes. So as far as fast changes goes, as long as it's not like half beat changes, like what down up down, you're changing every kind of like half a beat. You really, and even then, my biggest advice is to kind of sync your right and left hand. Okay, so if you're changing, for example, like C, F, G with all in one beat, yeah. So if you do, see how I'm kind of like how my two hands are synced together. So like on the up, I'm letting go, and I'm like dropping on the down strum. So anytime you have like fast changes like that in your song, what I would suggest is just isolate that that part. If it's just one part, but if it's the whole song, maybe pick apart like what chords it is in that song that happens in a rapid sequence. So you take those 3, 4, 5 chords, whatever it is, and just kind of practice that over and over again, and just kind of like landing and doing this like up down up down up down up down up down up down, and just kind of sync your two hands together. When you're doing the up strum, it's open like this, and put the chord down in the down strum. Even if you have to practice it slow, that's really what I would suggest to do. Practice it, not in the tempo that you would normally play it in, but a little bit slower, like 10 to 20 beats slower, and see if you can just isolate that part with those chords, and then do this kind of syncing with the two hands. Because if one is off and one goes before the other, that's when you're getting those those kind of like that kind of noise that you don't want, and it sounds unclean, and I get it, and not I don't play it perfectly every time, but I have I can get pretty close because I try to sync the two hands together.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
I think the song that she picked is just like a hard song to play too.
Yeah,
that it's a Birdhouse in Your Soul, and it's like a They Might Be Giants song, and if you know They Might Be Giants is like that,
and she's singing at the same time too.
It's not like it's like, oh, this is a 4-chord pop song that I can get away with, like whatever. Is like that. Even for I think good musicians, it's gonna take a while to get, because I think like they just jump to different keys to like get different points in that song, and so getting that like where it's just like you just jump to a different key smoothly is hard, and it's just practice. That's all it is really. Like I don't think Renee is doing a good job, and I don't think there's necessarily like a tip like, oh, this is how you do it better. It's just like you gotta just it's just that song is one of song that's gonna take time.
Yeah, so really just take it, and I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing this as an advice, but it works. Like, take it slow. But the advice that I want to add is really syncing up the two hands and up and down, because the downbeat is where you're changing. It's a little bit tougher if you're changing. That's why I said it's tough if it's half beats, because you kind of have to change in the up strum, and even then I would still like I'd still sync it so that like the chord changes on the up. So these two kind of move together. So practice getting these two hands to kind of sync up, especially for those kinds of songs. Yep. All right. we have a student review from Will also. Will has sent us a bunch of student reviews, and I gotta say, I watched this and I think he's getting better. He the way that he's holding the ukulele, it's up here, and the way that he's playing, the chunk is coming along. But really his main thing is, from according to him, is it still sounds kind of tinny. And really, it's just a matter of now that you've got it, now that you've got how to strum and stuff, get a little bit heavier on the hits. It's just the weight of your hand kind of going down. Because I feel that you're grazing it, you're grazing the strings, and that's how you're getting the that kind of thin noise. So if you take that same exact way that you're playing and just go a little bit closer, that's what's gonna give you a bigger sound. Also, the angle on when or where you hit the strings, on your pointer finger, for example. So I use when I strum, I'm gonna put this microphone here. So when I strum, it's really at this angle. So I'm pointing to myself and I'm pointing down to the ground, but there's a slight curve, as you can see. So pointing up to myself and pointing down. So it's really the nail, the top of my nail, and a little bit of my flesh, because it's kind of like this. And then I use the nail to slide through the strings, but then it's still like the weight of my hand that's creating that that tone. It makes it bigger, because if I played it lightly, that's what it would sound like. So it's just put a little bit of weight behind it, but then do it slowly. Don't just go like right off the bat. Like, see if you can kind of start from where you're at and add a little bit of weight behind the strum, a little bit more. And it's just a matter of bringing that finger in a little bit more too. So if you bring that finger, the more in you bring that finger, without it, like clacking on your on the top, that should help out. But you're doing great though. From the past videos that you've sent us, it looks like you're starting to kind of get it. You know how to hold your ukulele. Your form looks great. The chunk is coming along. That tone is gonna get there. Okay, so I would I haven't really seen like too much as far as playing tunes and stuff. So I would concentrate on and I think we've said this before too. Like, concentrate on playing songs and concentrate on trying to learn a bunch of stuff for now, because now that you know how to hold it and how you make noise with the ukulele, I think it's time to go through some songs. To go maybe I would suggest going through some of the beginner intermediate stuff on the song lessons, or if you want, you can kind of tackle for release or minuets, things like that, if you want to start picking. But really start to explore your ukulele and what it can do, because right now, if you spend a lot of time on oh man, it's just not the tone that I want, you're missing out on a lot of stuff that you could be doing with your ukulele just with the tone that you have already. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Another part that Will, I don't know if he messaged me or it's in the video itself, is he talked about he wears a thumb pick, and he kind of gets noise from the thumb pick itself.
Yeah.
So I messaged him back, and I told him if you're just strumming, if you're not gonna pick during the song, you might want to consider just take off the thumb pick, because no matter if you're strumming like that and your thumb pick just happens to hit the fretboard or whatever, it's gonna make a noise. So it's if you're focusing on strumming for a song, you really don't need a thumb pick at all, to strum. But if you're gonna pick and stuff, then yeah, you can wear it. It's just that's one of those. It's one thing that it's gonna happen. There's not really a way to get around it. So it's you gotta weigh the pros and cons to wearing a thumb pick, right? It's do I mind this little tacky noise that I get when I pick, or would I rather I might not get as strong a tone, but I can avoid that noise, then you can go without it. So yeah.
It seems like it's kind of getting in the way of his chunk too, because when you chunk, you're supposed to kind of use your thumb to cover the strings or lightly tap the strings, And so with the pick kind of facing in, it'll do that. So yeah, so it'll probably like kind of hit your whatever the soundboard or whatever. So yeah, probably just kind of maybe not use the thumb pick for strumming. Yeah, like Kahai said. But yeah, other than that, it's looking good. I'm pretty like if he's I mean, because you're always playing and you're always at where you're at, you don't necessarily notice your progression, but just know that we notice your progression. So you're doing good, and you're coming along, and yeah, just be happy and continue. That's the only way to get better and keep progressing. So
like I think like there's something that I think I can say this because I think Will is a pretty good like person who's open-minded, you know, and he listens to our advice. So like something that Will sends me, and every time he sends it to me, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like I feel good for him, but at the same time I'm like, ooh, I don't know if that's like the best thing to do. He uses like apps that can change the key of songs, and so he'll change keys so it fits his voice, so he can learn to sing along with songs. And I think that's great, like, and that's kind of what you want to do if you're singing along to a song. But then I also think I told him, like, I think that might be restricting you, because since you're not playing in the harder keys, you're not learning things like harder chords or inversions or ways to really play with the song, you know, like how it was originally played. And so that's kind of like one of those things that a lot of people, I think, like they find these things that make playing easier, and then when they question like, oh, why am I not getting better, it's like, because you're not really challenging yourself, you're not really trying to play the song as it's in a harder way, you know. If you're just like playing like, oh, I'm just playing the same 4 chords for every song, then it's like, oh, that's why you're not learning new chords, or that's why you're not really, you know, expanding your chord library. So that is like one thing that if you feel stuck, or you're like, oh, I kind of feel like I play the same thing over and over, try and play like things in different keys, or try and play things how they're originally recorded, because yeah, that's how you learn and get better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and really listening to the original song will kind of help you, because what you want to do is sort of imitate the style and the touch and you know, the phrasing of the original song. So that will help you get better too, by listening and then trying to emulate that. You'll get better and kind of hone in on that, I guess, the sound that you're trying to create, you know?
Yeah.
And be exposed to different types of sound and being able to recreate different types of sound. So if you play, just stick to the original key, play along with the original song, and really listen to the music, that will help train your ears and then train your hand to recreate those sounds as well.
Yeah. We also, I mean, you know, kind of moving on, we also have the songwriting submissions, because we kind of showed our songs last week. We have some submissions from Chris and Sue. We have one from
I think that's it.
Yeah, great submissions, you know, like love the ukulele work that Hamsini is doing, and love like the ukulele work, chords, and the lyrics that Chris and Sue did for, you know, for their songs. And this is what I'm going to do. So we usually give something, you know, to one person, but what we're going to do is Chris and Sue and Hamsini, you know, if you guys are listening, you guys can book one extra private lesson with me. Okay, it doesn't have to be this month. It's just one extra period. All right, and if when you book that extra one, just put in on the what do I want to learn. Just say this is the extra one for writing a song. Okay, so instead of sending out stuff and whatever, and I think I could especially with, you know, I know Hamsini really well, and we've been doing like some really good progress with her private lessons, and I think this would be the perfect thing to kind of give out to these people who submitted a songwriting submission this time. Okay, so put it in there. You get one, so everybody usually gets two, but you have three either this month or whenever you want to whenever you want to redeem your extra lesson. So keep that in mind for those people who want to do the songwriting lesson, because that's kind of one that I want to start giving out to people, because I do want to help out people a little bit more, and sometimes we'll get prizes, so who knows what you're gonna get if you write a song for the songwriting challenge, right, Kahai?
Yeah. I think Hamsini, we sent her a box too of like actual prizes and stuff, but I don't know if it's gotten to her yet. I think it might take a while to get to India, so like
but it's cool. We love seeing progress from from a lot of you, and we do see, and it's kind of cool because like especially during the private lessons, like I kind of see people working on stuff, but then when we see people submitting like songwriting stuff, it kind of showcases like what they come up with, and things that that they are not showing me, because usually what they're showing me, it's like, oh, how do I how do I do this, or I'm working on this song, but this kind of gives you guys a chance to showcase yourselves and your musicality and things that you created with your own noggin. It's just really cool. So I'm proud of all of you folks that have submitted something to the Songwriting Challenge. If you haven't, just try it out. It's it's super fun. Like this, it's not even like the winner for this week. It's like I'm giving both of them extra lessons. So right on. Speaking of which, Kahai, do you want to set the next challenge?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool. So we want to set the next challenge. Give us some ideas right now. So for those of you folks who are in the live chat, just like type in, what you guys want to do for the, for the challenge. It's kind of funny because it's like, there's a lot of people like, oh, do this, do that. And like, we don't see any submissions, we see two submissions. So, give us some ideas. Give us something that you want to do, because, if you put in a submission, or, if you put in a suggestion of something that you would love to write about, or would love to write a key that we would love to write in, that's kind of what we want to hear, instead of like, oh, let's do this, let's do this, instead this is a challenge, let's make it a challenge for these other people, like it's like give us suggestions on something that you want to do, something fun, something that you would think is fun. Yeah So let's do that.
So even Rob, he said that I started a song and I wrote a verse, but I never finished it. I think it, like, even if you record that and you put it in the songwriting challenge,
it counts.
And it's kind of cool. Like I've thought about doing a challenge, because like there's I've seen like artists do challenges on YouTube, and one challenge they do is like after 10 years or whatever, they go back and they try and redraw their original drawing, right? And if you do something like this, you record yourself playing a song or something, and you don't finish it, but you put it up. It's like maybe in a few months you can look back on it and be like, oh, now I think I can finish it now. Like I have more ideas that I can use to finish it. So it's always cool. Like even if you're not sure, like, oh, should I submit it or something, you should. If you're writing songs and stuff, just record like everything you do and keep it, and then like every once in a while look back on it and like think, oh, maybe I can use this for this song, or maybe I can add this to this song. That's like part of the fun of songwriting.
With that said, like, we submit, or we show you guys a lot. I mean, at least I do, like, if I come up with like a verse and a chorus, it's like, oh, and if I don't get like a second verse or a bridge, which, even though I really want to, like, if it's just like a verse and chorus, it's like, hey, this is what I got so far. And like, what do you guys think? So it doesn't have to be like a complete song. We just want you guys to just, start writing, like, just because the more you write, the better you'll get. So, if you're expecting like, this doesn't sound like the masterpiece that I want it to sound like, it doesn't have to be. And that's how you get to that masterpiece, if you just keep writing. Also, I am creating an EP right now, and a couple of the songs that that I did for the Thursday live lesson are gonna make it in that in that EP. And this just goes to show you, like, I didn't finish like these tunes that that I'm doing for the for the EP, I definitely added some stuff and definitely made them better. Made riffs and whatnot. So it doesn't have to be a complete thing that you can get that you guys can show. Yeah, so I'm very excited for it, guys. Like I started doing the vocals because that song that I submitted last week, that's one of them that I put into the EP because I kind of like how that chorus, and it's kind of catchy. And the Thursday live lesson song that I did, like with which should be kind of like the Aldrine and Kahai show. That's another one of this. Yeah, the jingle, the Aldrine and Kahai show. That's gonna make it into the EP. It's super fun. So it really like this EP. I'm making it for like the Ukulele Underground like actual like fans,
podcast
like plus
listeners.
Podcast listeners. So it's gonna be free, so it's not like anything that's I'm gonna put it up on Spotify. You guys can listen to Spotify. I'm not gonna make a physical like CD release for it or whatever. I'm just gonna put it out there. Just hold on. It's in progress. I don't see it taking any longer than another month and a half though. So it should be really really soon. And I don't want to be that guy who announces stuff like it's gonna come out, but now that the tracks are all kind of laid out, I just need to do a few more things. Now I can see it. Yeah, it's coming.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Either that or just wasted a whole week's worth of work if it doesn't come out.
Yeah, I don't know. People aren't really putting suggestions in the chat for what the next challenge can be.
Yeah,
but I also wanted to point out with Hamsini too. Or with Hamsini, Chris, and Sue, the thing I like about Hamsini's song, if you listen to it, is she's so good at setting motifs. She sets she has themes in her songs, and then she returns to them, and you can really tell it's oh man, that is a great thing to just it's those little bites that you can just pick out in songs immediately, recognize.
Yeah,
and she does a great job at doing that. And then Chris and Sue wrote a really neat song using that major second, right? And they wrote a song about a diner that they go to. I think they go to. They sent me a picture of it. But then they included little bits about there's something about a shark in there, and just little Easter eggs in there too. So they both did a really great job. And I just wanted to bring that up again.
Yeah, great job, guys. Okay, so let's pick a key. How about we pick a key or a chord progression? I kind of like that major second one from the last. It was I loved it. Let's do chord progression instead of key, so that people can just write in whatever key, So Will doesn't have to change keys, so that he can sing to it. So, let's just make it easier for Will, and just make it open key, something that Will can sing.
So you can play it in whatever key you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Well, I'm not poking fun or anything. I'm just saying, it can be any key that you want, that you want to do it in, or you want to write it in. Okay, so the chord progression will be, let's see here. Okay, I got it. So oh no, that might be too hard. Since we're doing 2 chord songs for for Friday live jam, I want you guys to write a 2 chord song. Okay, but of course, we have bonuses. Bonuses would be just have a verse or a chorus as 2 chords, and then the part of the song has more than 2 chords. Another bonus, I want you guys to see if you can put a diminished chord in there. We haven't done that in a while, I don't think. So diminished chord is a bonus. More chords is for other parts to be bonus, as long as at least a verse has 2 chords in it, or the chorus has 2 chords in it, or a part. If you're not writing lyrics kind of songs, or a part of it at least has to be kind of 2 chords ish. Let's see. Let's make a bonus reggae, because reggae has good 2 chord stuff in it, and I can write in reggae very easily. But yeah, 2 chord songs usually kind of reminds me of reggae. Or let's make lounge. Lounge music, 2 chord lounge music. Yeah. So lounge or reggae, 2 chords, diminished.
Aaron, what was the chord that you used in last week's one? Was it like a flat 7 or was it like a major 7 or something?
Major 7.
Can we make that as one of the bonuses? Is use a major 7 chord too? Yeah.
Major 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Love major 7s. It's especially when I'm playing guitar, like major 7s. Just whoa, Robin.
Well, like, but was it like or I said major 7, but what was it? Was the 7th chord of the key that you're playing in, right? That was, you made it into a major instead of a dominant. Is that what you did in your last song? There's something like that you use where it's like a chord that's not in the key, right? I think you used something
for me.
Yeah, for your last song.
Yeah, it was in the key of D, and I used the C.
So it went down like a major instead of like this. Instead of diminished 7, you use a major 7. So not necessarily like a G major 7. It's like the 7th chord in that family is a major instead of a diminished. So it can be diminished or a major, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah, either major or diminished 7. That's interesting. I love that. I like it.
Yeah. I think
a major is a flat 7 major though. It wasn't like a regular 7, right? So flat 7 major. Because 7 in D would be a C sharp, so it'd be
that's right.
Yeah, flat 7 major.
Okay, so that'll be the bonus then. Flat 7 major. See if you can get that.
Or it would be a major flat 7. That's yeah. It wouldn't be a flat 7 major. It would be a major flat 7, because the last challenge is a major 2 instead of a minor 2. So there's a major flat 7.
If you want.
If you want. It's bonus.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you know.
I put it in there because I like the sound of it. I didn't even think about what number it was or what.
Well, apparently Kahai liked it so much that he wants to make it a bonus this time around. You touched him. You know, like your song touched Kahai in a way that has influenced him to use it as a bonus.
It felt like a 70s folk rock kind of progression or so, you know.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah, sounds good. So that's the challenge.
So the bass challenge or the bass guideline is just write a 2-chord song, right? Everything else is just added on if you can do it, if you want to use it. So
yeah. Any bonuses of what to write about? So we talked about, you know, what chords to use and what genres you can write in and stuff, but subject matter. Kahai, your turn.
Oh, subject matter. Shoot. Because like last week's one. Well, like actually none of us really wrote about the end of summer, right? Like we all kind of wrote like folk songs or
I wrote a diner song.
Song, yeah. So what would be a good? I don't know. What is a good thing to write about?
Sky's choice.
I don't know.
Where's Devin when we need him?
I know.
He's usually the one that picks interesting topics.
Yeah, we need like just a randomizer or something to come up with like a phrase that we can just use to.
Should we do like current events, Kahai? Just like the heat wave that's going on right now, because I'm sweating. Like that's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about all the other craziness that's going on in the world. I'm talking about this heat that's making me sweat through. I have to wear more black shirts because like if I wear anything other than black, it's just really gonna show.
Yeah. How about like making like the theme, or like if you can write about heat wave, just
hot or cold? How about hot or cold?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Like, and that's as that's as general as we can make it. Hot and cold, hot and or cold.
Temperature wise.
That's a Katy Perry song.
Yeah. I already got one.
got
your
it
yes
already.
And your no.
Yeah.
You're in and you're out. You know. I'm getting ideas.
Yeah, opposites.
Yeah.
Like that time you wrote right, you did Guava Jam in a minor key. It's like you just take the Katy Perry song and you just do it in a minor key, and then you switch all the words around. It's like, yeah, I wrote this song. It's totally original. Yep.
Yeah, so it's gonna be good. I'm excited for this one. Two chords. I mean, everybody can write something with two chords, right? It's gonna be good. Major flat sevens, diminished, whatever key that you want to, and songs about hot and or cold.
Yeah, I think also like the two chords. So like tomorrow is two chord jams, right? But I for the poll I wrote what two-ish chord songs should we play for the jam, and there are songs where it's like I think you can get away with just playing two chords, but originally the song has more, and so I think people too, if you write a song and then it happens to have three chords, it's not like we're gonna go like shame on you use more chords than you're supposed to. It's it's okay. Yeah, we just want to hear what you come up with. So yep.
Yeah, I think what was that, like the Pina Colada song or whatever? Like Escape has like a billion chords if you're playing it correctly, like how they did it in the 70s and stuff. That dun 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 dun. Chord. But like no, let's just do two chords. It's two fine. Let's do like Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson doesn't like too much chords either. So I'm with Jack. I'm with Jack.
Jack Johnson also does like a lot of major chords together that don't necessarily fall into the same chord family.
Or he just goes up and up the neck, right? Like
he just bars a chord and then goes to a different same bar, just on a different fret.
That's working smarter, not harder. That's really all it is, He's saving all that energy for more surfing and eating acai bowls. I saw him one time at Marcus's place. What's that place called? Diamond Head Cove.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's Jack Johnson. Don't look. Just don't look. Jack Johnson.
Cool.
Yeah, cool, man. It's cool. Yeah, that was like the most like word of mouth spot that I found on Oahu, but it's bumping now. Like everyone knows about it now. Diamond Head Cove.
I don't think it's the same anymore, though, right? It's not.
Ever since Marcus passed, it's really.
And I think they changed their name. It might be. Yeah, I mean, it might be something else. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I think they just went with the Health Bar or something. Diamond Cove Health Bar, but before it was called Diamond Head Cove. And then it is a health bar, but I included that in the name now. But I don't know. I dig it. I mean, I went recently. It tastes, the acai bowl stays exactly the same and stuff, but it's just the vibe is just not, not the same.
How it was in the old days. Yeah. Actually, because you still have a bunch of YouTube videos. So if you like look up Diamond Head Cove on YouTube, it'll go to Aldrine's channel and there's some cool ones on there, like some pretty cool just musicians from Hawaii would just show up there and then end up collaborating. So it's like some magic, like that was captured in a bottle.
Like God bless their souls, like Ernie Cruz Jr. Like I got to jam with him there, and Guy Cruz, like both of them passed, and it's just like I'm so glad I have those memories with with those guys and kind of just jamming. And it was one of those places that they would just be there, even if they were like Ernie. He wasn't there like to play. He was just there because I think like they just finished the gig and he wanted to just like have an acai bowl or some kava. He wanted to just drink some kava after the show. And it was like, can you want to jam? You want to jam or something? Play a song together? It was really cool. Oh my God. I feel like I'm Troy Fernandez right now.
Totally not tripping right now.
It was cool. It was really cool.
I think when we posted Island Style, I want to say one of the comments was like, I remember seeing John play with his brother at Diamond Head, and it was like, I want to say they were like saying it was like 10 years ago, and they went there just to grab food, and they're like, holy cow, this person is here just like hanging out and playing music. What's going on? So like, yeah.
That was a spot, man. Like Diamond Head Cove was a spot. Like if you wanted to see like Hawaii musicians, like that would be it. Like, and there was like a wall of pictures with like the old owner Marcus, like would just post pictures of like famous people coming. Even his dog was famous. His dog was in Lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool. And it was a very tiny place, but it was the best. It was really the best. And I think they have a second or a third location at this point. They've expanded. I don't know who owns it now. I don't know if the wife took over, but it was really cool. Like back then. The food is still good. So if you guys go, Diamond Head Cove, it's by Diamond Head. It's I think it's Montserrat Avenue. I'm not quite sure exactly where it's at, but it's in Waikiki, just or on your way going to KCC. That's the best direction that I can give. It's great. That was when I first had acai bowls. They're like ahi wraps and stuff. They're delicious. Like the food there is awesome. The kava is great. So go.
While you were on living on Oahu, did you ever go to Ward's Rafters?
That sounds familiar, but no.
That was like another spot where it was like super word of mouth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then just amazing art and music happened there. It was one of those places. I don't think it's around anymore. I think the lady who owned the location passed, but that was one of those, like Kealoha, the poetry guy.
Poet, yeah.
He brought me there once, and it was amazing. It was one of those where like a lot of jazz would happen there, and just a lot of just random musicians would show up and play together.
Did they used to have like slam poetry nights and stuff at Rafters? Because I might have gone if that was the place.
I think he would do it. There was, what was that restaurant inside Ala Moana Hotel? Yeah, he would do it.
Oh yeah,
there.
that is the place. And his little club on downstairs, right?
Yeah. He would do it there.
The
I think that place is closed now too. And then he would also do it at Hawaiian Brian's. Yeah.
I remember going because I went twice. One time because Jake was playing at like some slam poetry night, and Jake's like, oh, do you want to come? I was like, I guess I'll come to that. I was living on Oahu like a while back, and then the second time I went to his Keloa's slam poetry thing was Bo Sia was doing poetry.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, oh man, I love that guy. So he came in, and I was like, I got to see him live, which is really cool. And then I really wanted to check out Anis Mojgani. Like I think he did one of the slam poetry nights too.
I was there for that
really?
one.
Oh, yeah. I'm so jealous because Anis is one of my favorites, and Bosia too. So it's like I saw Bosia.
Nice, yeah. So this was before we even started Ukulele Underground.
Yeah,
and I was doing some video stuff with Kealoha, and so he might have been one of those kind of influences in my life that made me realize like you could take art and you could just do it, for the sake of doing it, and you could find a way, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, if as long as you want to live simply, you can find a way to live on art. And so ever since that, that contact, and I haven't really kept up with him or anything, but he's such a cool guy. But he definitely inspired me to like branch out on my own, and like eventually we did start Ukulele Underground, and so part of the credit kind of goes to him. Just
cool. Inspiration,
inspiring me to just make art a thing in a major thing in my life, because I always thought I would have to go into whatever, do an office job or science or whatever, but he has a degree, I think he has a PhD in physics or something like that, but he's a poet for a job, for his main job. And so that kind of made me rethink everything, just meeting him and hanging out with him. So check him out.
We'll post some links.
Yeah.
Weren't we coming back from like NAM or something? and I think he like see you in the airport, and he stopped you and was like, "Hey, Aaron."
That's cool.
It was in LAX. Yeah. And I was carrying my guitar, and he was like, "Are you still doing that ukulele thing or something?" And he was like, "Yeah, I am." And it's like, "That's a big ukulele." He was like, "Oh no, I back up this guy who plays ukulele, and we did some shows." And he was like, "That's pretty cool." And
he was super nice.
I tried to tell him then that it's like kind of like, if it wasn't, it kind of is, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be doing this, traveling the world and living off music and teaching music and spreading, the love of music. And so he's like, I don't think he really understands the impact that he had on me. He was like, "Yeah, that's cool, man. Do you?"
Yeah. I remember after he called out to you and you guys talked, and we were just like sitting down waiting for our plane to come. You told me that, and it was like, that's like pretty amazing. And it's like pretty amazing that he called out to you, right? Like he saw you and was like, "Hey, that's Aaron," and like called out to say hi, like out of like everybody at LAX is like he recognized you. So yeah, that was a pretty cool story.
Yeah, check out, man. It's inspiring, dude. I met him one time, like I don't, not for him to remember me or anything, because I think you worked with him, right? Or you filmed him. You followed him around to film him.
Yeah. I was doing like a kind of a one day in the life piece on just random people from Hawaii, and he was one of the guys that I followed and did. And I don't think his episode ever came out because we got dropped from I Am Hawaii then.
Ooh. You should just like look for the tapes. You should just release it.
Yeah, no, I think I gave him the footage. I sent him the footage at some point, but yeah, it's one of those things that was just it just happened to conspire to it kind of led my life on a totally different path. But yeah, there's really no trace of the original impetus for that. Yeah.
That's cool, man. All right, everyone. Well, we gotta get going. Thanks so much for listening to Thursday Live Lesson. We'll see you folks next time. Write your songs, send us your songs. It's gonna be due in 3 weeks for you guys, but for us it's in 2 weeks, so that you guys can get an idea of what you guys can write with 2 songs. We'll show you guys what we come up with. A week afterwards, that's when you guys give us your songs, and we'll do something nice for the people who that did send something. Okay, but other than that, stick around for one-on-one coaching, or we'll see you folks tomorrow for Aloha Friday Live Jam. Have a great one. Keep yukin. Aloha.